Today, we're going to be talking about all things non-fungible, and that includes tokens. That face could sell some coffee. I could see that.
It's with love.
I mean, like, I do own a couple of Louis Vuittons, but I don't.
Well, that was like that episode of Black Mirror, 15 Million Merits.
Do you think wealthy people are powerful?
Oh, I get to rub hypothetical elbows with Jimmy Fallon.
A decentralized database that anyone could look into.
Jake, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. So you recommended that we go to OpenSea and check out the stats tab, which tells you about a lot of on-chain statistics. So could you just break down kind of what the blue chip ones are, what that means, and what we're looking at on the screen there?
Absolutely. So first we're on OpenSea. OpenSea right now is it's kind of like the entire world is shopping at one Walmart, and now there's other stores that are being built. But for the first year that NFTs blew up in 2021,
so for an NFT newbie, this is where they go.
This is where everyone pretty much goes because it's the marketplace to go to for collections, where you see all of the top collections are like collectible based.
Do you have an NFT?
I do not have an NFT.
Okay, so you can talk to us both as newbies. Walk us through.
Absolutely. So the most popular one, at least from a pop culture standpoint, is Bored Ape Yacht Club. You see all the celebrities.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon has one.
Investment. Jimmy Fallon, Paris Hilton, sports stars, Steph Curry, a lot of them. So there's 10,000, and we'll go line by line.
And
so
the celebrities made it popular? Or do you think it was popular and then the celebrities got in?
The community onboarded the celebrities, and then it just became this network effect where I think the first celebrities to buy into it was Steph Curry and Von Miller, who are both like very popular sports players.
Yeah.
Then they got their friends, and then there's kind of a dark history behind it. Then a company called MoonPay started having celebrities advertise for them, and instead of paying them dollars, they started paying them in Bored Apes.
Oh,
so
they invent their own currency and they give it to people to promote, and then they become the number one asset in the world.
I don't know if you saw one of the recent Post Malone videos, but Post Malone's actually purchasing the Bored Ape in the video.
In the video, you should bring that up
in the video. In the video.
So that's the one that seems most associated with celebrities. But have they all pretty much done that strategy? Like they invent some kind of a limited edition, they give it to celebrities.
So there is actually Bored Apes also started this thing called honorary apes, but this was more for the crypto influencers or the crypto leaders, where they branded Bored Apes based off of the influencer's pseudonym.
Yeah.
And this is where it goes dense into like meme culture and things like that.
Have you been given an NFT of value?
Not for free. I'm not that big enough to get into it. I mostly started my NFT career in what's called like vintage NFTs or historical NFTs, which is NFTs go all the way back actually to 2011 is when the first NFT was created.
That's the very first one.
First NFT is actually called bitcoin.bit. It's a domain. It was registered on April 21st, 2011. So the ENS is kind of the popular one. But you can see here, this is pop culture blew up with PFPs, and most of these are PFPs, which is called profile pictures. So if you look at it, like Bored Apes, Doodles, CryptoPunks, and Mutant Apes are all PFPs, and then Other Deeds and Duplicators are also companions of the two other collections up at the top. So PFP, basically, it's just...
Is it 3D too? Like a 3D avatar? Or
there are 3D ones, but the 2D ones have done best, and pixelated ones tend to be
and that's
popular.
Because most social networks have a 2D image. And that's
2D
what
image.
makes them
But
so valuable.
the idea, though, is like when we live in this like VR 3D metaverse, all of the NFTs will be 3D. They'll probably actually seem very real. Like if you think of where
CryptoPunk? Without the pixels? Yeah.
That's just like the image. The cool thing about NFTs, and this is kind of going into like the technicalities of an NFT. All an NFT is just an assignment of ownership over a digital asset. So we've never been able to really do this in history. The only time and attempts we've seen of people attempting to show ownership over a digital asset is like watermarks, right? If somebody creates a meme or puts up a picture, a photographer puts a picture up, they try to put something in the picture to signify that they own it and that they created it. But eventually it gets ripped off. The technology's gotten so good where you can kind of rip all of those signatures away. So an NFT, you're basically showing that you created the image by minting an imprint or a digital signature on a blockchain that proves that you were the creator. And so then it adds provenance, which provenance is just like the history behind an asset, right? The reason why the Mona Lisa is worth so much money is because the provenance of it existing for
We
so
trust
long,
that it really is the one,
that
not
it is
some
actually
print
the
of
one.
it.
But here you can prove, and it sounds crazy because you get into the idea of like the right-click savers. Those are people that are like, I could just right-click save your image, right? It's the same exact
It's
thing.
not the same, but I can print
you
out a
don't-
Mona Lisa photo too
Yeah.
from the internet, but it's not going to be the same.
There's so many screen prints all over. So
Right.
that's kind of like the idea of it. It's digital ownership, and we're kind of in the primitive stage. That's why all these are blowing up. The primitive you see right now is art and collectibles, but NFTs could literally be anything. It could be a skin in Fortnite. It could be anything that you can compress data into. So MP3 file, MP4 file, some kind of hybrid combination of it, VR, AR. It just extends to any sort of data file that could be compressed and then minted onto a blockchain. I got into crypto in 2016, and I thought that everyone would buy Bitcoin. All right, to me, it makes sense. Decentralized store of value, can't be repossessed from the government. Most normies they don't understand
Normies?
it.
I was
Right,
saying,
you guys are
some
normies. Yeah, you
Normies.
get to be the normies in this.
Okay.
So I'm a
this
vampire
in
and a
this
normie
context.
now. Gosh.
It's with love. But you would think that they would understand this. Turns out no one really cares. But now they can associate an image or something that they can tie some sort of like love to, or some sort of like semblance. And this is kind of where these things blowed up. These people who try to sell NFTs, and I've faced this as well, you feel this sort of like attachment to it. Like it becomes like your digital identity.
For sure, yeah.
Because if you're using it as your profile picture and you're tweeting from it, which is where 90% of crypto communication happens, is on Twitter, people start associating that identity of that PFP with you. So a lot of influencers on Twitter, there's one Punk6529, that's his handle. And
You
that's
bring him up?
Yeah, and that's also the crypto punk that he owns. You have to go on Twitter.
Yeah, but I know about it, but people love his online personality, right?
Yes, he likes threads, very, very elegant and intelligent. And so if he ever sold that, then he loses identity because he's a pseudonymous character.
Wow, so you could never buy that from him.
This
if you bought
happened
that from him,
because
people might think you wrote all that stuff.
Most people, so he's very popular.
It is
very
weird to think about.
Popular guy. So if you go like on my podcast, I talk with crypto people. The majority of people that I'm talking to have their screen turned off because they're pseudonymous. It was when I started tweeting about crypto in 2017. It was like it was almost character assassination. People thought like you can't talk publicly about crypto because then you're the weird guy. No one takes you serious. So early in the day, the cypherpunks, they also wanted to protect security and privacy from the government. They created all these pseudonyms. So people were using PFPs before they even turned it into non-fungible tokens, right? But now you can flex and have it as some sort of social status, because Punk6529, his picture is probably worth $1 million.
Yeah.
His hoodie punk, which is a very desirable
And a lot
trait.
of that's because of the intelligent things that he said, the community that he built on social. So he is a celebrity who's hiding behind this, but can prove that he is the right one doing all of these things.
And Twitter also, with Twitter Blue now, you can verify that you own the NFT. It puts a hexagon around your picture. Because
so Twitter's
of
checking the blockchain for you.
They're verifying it for you to prove that you own it because of all the scammers that associate. In order to sell an NFT, you have to match a buyer to a seller. It's much different from fungible tokens like Bitcoin. There's always buyers and sellers because it's a fungible market. And fungible just means that the tokens are all interchangeable with each other and they all equal the same value. So if all of us in this room,
this is about history being recorded around an asset.
Whereas
Bitcoin could be
and
one
it's
or two.
unique. Yeah, because most things fungible are currencies. If we all took a $1 bill and threw it on the ground, we could take any dollar bill and it's the same. But if we all took a baseball card with different players and threw it on the ground, they all have different kinds of value.
Right.
So that's what non-fungible, 99% of the world, or even 99.9% of the world is non-fungible items. So people like Brian Armstrong and the people in the NFT community, we all believe that in the future, when crypto becomes very synonymous with the digital economy, NFTs are gonna the market cap of NFTs are going to be much larger than the market cap of all cryptocurrencies together. So this is where a lot of speculation comes in. because if Bored Apes or CryptoPunks that you see at the top, if these end up becoming the Mona Lisas or these art grails of the digital economy, how much is it really worth?
Yeah. Can you see how much the Mona Lisa is worth? Just out of curiosity.
I've done research, and most people say it's priceless. There's literally no price really.
Funny,
on
how much
it.
do you think a Mona Lisa would sell for? Elon Musk, if he wanted it.
If I was selling the Mona Lisa to Elon Musk, I'd be like, how much you got?
Right here it says it's believed to be worth more than $850 million.
Yeah, billionaire.
That sounds about right. So the highest
It's
selling,
believed, so it could be worth way more than that.
the highest selling CryptoPunk was $23 million, and that's for one unique CryptoPunk. Most people believe that in the future there will be CryptoPunks that sell for billions of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah, it also you're denominating everything in ETH, which is also a very volatile asset. So the time that the CryptoPunk was purchased for $23 million, I think ETH was worth like $3,000 or $4,000, where now it's worth about $1,000. So you have this volatility. But so going back to this is kind of like
break us down.
This is like the homepage for NFT traders. You can go to more technical and analytic sites like Gem and Genie and some of these other ones, but this is just for the basics.
Yeah, but for like somebody getting kind of into it and wants to just sort of make something stable happen, this is where you would get them started.
The first column is the 24-hour volume. So you see Bored Apes has about 2,000 ETH in volume in the last 24 hours, which is about $2 million.
I feel like people just bought them and held them, but that's a lot of people trading. So the marketplace in the order book is pretty active.
It is, and the volume's down about 95% overall. There were times where this Bored Ape volume was like 20,000 ETH.
But the prices
and
aren't?
The price because everything's denominated in ETH, this is where you get this different perspective. Some people believe that 1 ETH is worth 1 ETH, and so they don't care if the value of ETH is worth 5,000 or if it's worth 1,000. They want to get more ETH because they think that ETH is going to be more valuable in the future. And then you have other traders who don't care as much about the ETH; they just denominate everything in dollars. So you get two different types of traders coming in and trying to capture. So right now in a bear
what does that do to a marketplace? Does it make it?
It makes it very volatile. That's why you have these crazy swings, because then you also have the tax implications on it as well. So there's different strategies where now most people they're making more ETH, but they're also booking like 6-figure tax losses. So they're taking the strategy of tax loss harvesting, where now you can say, yeah, I had 100 ETH Bored Ape, and then I sold it for 99 ETH, but I booked a $200,000 loss. Now I can take that 200K and write it off for the next 10 years. So there's all these different strategies that are coming into the fold here. But these are what you call blue chips. Blue chips also has a different meaning. For some people, blue chip is just a dense liquidity pool relative to the market. So you see these are the top ones. These are, if you're going to have an immediate sell, this is where you're going to go to these blue chips. Some people think that blue chips are socially desirable assets. So maybe like some of the art block collections that we're talking about, they have less liquidity, but they're highly desirable art pieces. So they consider that blue chips because of the social presence around it, the social status. And then floor price is just the lowest priced asset in the collection. So for doodles, it's 15 ETH. The cheapest doodle you'll find there is 15 ETH. It doesn't mean that it's worth 15 ETH. It's basically like the lowest rung on.
Right. Just gives you a sense of what it would take to break in.
And you can always bid too. You can bid in what's called WETH, which is wrapped ETH, where if somebody has it. So usually this is a strategy. If somebody has the lowest listed asset, it means they're trying to sell immediately. Depending on how much liquidity they need, you could go and probably bid 14 ETH or 13 ETH, and they'll probably accept it because they just want the money, depending. And there's other variables. And then on the right side, this is also very important. The amount of items in the collection. Most PFPs, because they all follow in the footsteps of CryptoPunks, they're called 10K PFP collections. So you see a lot of them are 10K. CryptoPunks were created in 2017, so they're also
10,000 of them.
They're also a historical collection. So they're all 10,000 unique CryptoPunks. CryptoPunks, I think, has. Don't get me wrong, if you're a CryptoPunk fan, I don't know the exact number, but because people are probably gonna hate me. It's like I think it's like 20 different traits or something like that, 15 to 20. and they basically did off-chain generation. So the Larva Labs, who is the dev team behind it, they put the algorithm off-chain, generated these CryptoPunks, and then minted them on-chain. Okay. And so that off-chain, on-chain it's a nuance, but it's very important to the value for some people. So CryptoPunks, unique one. Same thing with Bored Apes. Bored Apes said they were actually inspired by CryptoPunks, and so they followed very similar suit. Obviously, 4 years later, though, modernized a little bit with the art. Bored Apes is run by Yuga Labs. Yuga Labs actually went in and bought the CryptoPunks IP for an undisclosed number, but the number that I've heard is about $200 million. They said it is a 9-figure sale.
You think that's good for the community that they're tied together now?
It depends on your view of decentralization, and this is always a hot topic in crypto. There's like this tri-lema, and this isn't mostly for NFTs, but this is just for blockchains. Like when you're in college, the tri-lema, it's always like sleep, social life, and good grades, and it's like you can only have two.
Yeah.
In crypto, the tri-lema is decentralization, speed, and security, and you can generally only have two. And so the idea with Bitcoin is that it sacrifices speed for security and decentralization. Ethereum is starting to make a different trade-off and sacrifice some of the decentralization for speed, so that it can have more throughput, more transactions. But that ideology translates with the decentralization over to the older collections like CryptoPunks. So a lot of them want to be decentralized, and so they're not a big fan of Yuga Labs coming in and purchasing the IP, although they do own the actual CryptoPunk themselves. They don't. What
did they buy?
You're buying. This is
what
also.
do you mean
this
buy
is
the
all,
IP if people have the IP when they get it?
So this is also a hot debate in NFTs. The idea of IP rights versus CCO versus commercial rights.
Break it down for me.
So actually, I just found this speech by Larva Labs from 2018. And they were talking about IP rights in 2018, and the idea of like, what are you actually buying? Are you buying the token? Are you buying the art? As Larva Labs, as the creators of CryptoPunks, what are you giving them? What are you selling? Like, it's a lot of these. Like,
I assumed it was everything, but
it's a lot
maybe
of these,
not.
So Larva Labs, before Yuga came in, Larva Labs intended that they maintained all the IP, and so they didn't want to give. So basically, if you grant, you can own the IP.
Do they still own the image? Like, they could sue you if you use that image to sell a can of Coke or something, even though you bought it.
Yeah. So there's two things that are kind of happening simultaneously. So Yuga came in, and they're not the first one to do it, but they kind of popularized it. They said, we own the brand IP of Bored Ape Yacht Club, but we grant commercial and personal use to the individual Bored Ape owner. So if you owned a Bored Ape, you could go in and you can brand.
You could sell it to Coke.
You could go create a restaurant. So somebody did this. They created a restaurant in LA called Bored and Hungry with their Bored Ape on the side, and they could profit off of it without a cap.
No cap.
No cap. Larva Labs,
No cap.
they were not anything about this. And they actually they put a cap on it. They said that you can only profit 100,000 max commercial use off of your CryptoPunks, and this caused this big controversy. And CryptoPunks, they do
that before they created it, or they're just adding it in now?
This was adding it later. They said that in 2021 because Bored Apes did this. Bored Apes were kind of catching up on CryptoPunks.
Yeah,
and so it caused a lot of animosity because CryptoPunks are based off of
unfair to me.
They're based off of the idea of cypherpunks. Cypherpunks are the people who created the ideology that eventually evolved into cryptocurrency, which is just like the government's watching you. We need encryption. We need to protect
privacy
ourselves.
For the people.
Privacy friendly. This stuff, and so there was a lot of animosity between both of them. CryptoPunks ran from 3 ETH to like 150 ETH floor in a year. So they went from literally like $1,000 to $150 or $500,000 floor in a year. And then they came down, and Yuga came in, and they eventually purchased the IP, and they came in and granted all of the CryptoPunk owners full commercial and personal use over it. Right? So they came in, and they were the great people that said, yay, you can now profit off the likeness of your punk. But what this did is there's consolidation now at the top, right? So you have the biggest collection, the most popular collection, acquiring what was the most popular and now the second most popular collection.
Maybe a little too much centralization.
Too much centralization. So it becomes this like confliction of ideology and philosophy, and I think it's still to be determined.
Where do you land on it?
What actually happens?
Are you happy they bought it or unhappy?
I was not a big fan of it, but what I've seen happen, and I've come much farther towards the middle on this like idea that NFTs are, for at least when they blew up, they've become all about branding and marketing. They've become more about social status. That's why PFPs blew up, because everyone wants to have an identity or fake identity that's now financialized. You're financializing your pseudonymity, which for some people is cool.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to show your real identity, you could flex your wealth, and just by like human psychology, human wealth or correlates, not always, but a lot of people think that wealth correlates to power, which I don't believe that, but a lot of people do.
What do you think? So?
Do you think wealthy people are powerful?
Yeah.
Or do you associate it, even if subconsciously?
I think wealthy people demand power. I wouldn't say they have power.
You think it's that mentality that
but I
made them
think it's
rich?
the mentality of, I have a certain amount of money, so I feel like I have the power to do what I please, or you have to listen to me, which I don't agree with in this sense, but I do feel like, I don't know, I like money. But for me, it's like money is just more a comfortability. Even if I was famous or rich, I don't think I would ever use that to flaunt necessarily. I would use it for like the better good.
What about just the stuff like Louis Vuitton? Do you see yourself as somebody who would invest in something like that for the status?
I mean, for the status? I mean, like, I do own a couple of Louis Vuittons, but I don't like
part of it. Part of it.
Yeah.
I do, but like for me, it's just.
And you like the being conspicuous with it, making sure
Yeah,
it's
like I don't brag about my Louis Vuittons. Like I'm not like, oh, I just bought this. Like, oh, this is part of the new collection. Like me personally, I'm not one of those diehard like Versace, Louis Vuitton people who are like, this is the newest collection, it costs this much. Like me personally, if I like it and I can afford it, I'll buy it. Like, it's one of the, when I hear people that like go off about their Louis Vuitton, I had it personalized, stitched, I have my name engraved, I have this and this. I'm like, that's a lot. I'm sure it cost you a lot.
It's not that different than that punk though, because he's basically like, he bought it and then he like customized it with all the things that he wrote and his Twitter profile. So he kind of was like, he
definitely made it his own, but with the social status behind it it is a crypto punk.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a party where you have to have an NFT to get in? And
I've heard of those.
This is happening at NFT NYC.
Is that a big reason to get it, just to get into super parties?
If you go on my YouTube, I've done many videos of this. Area 15 had two recently ones, and it was kind of
had to have one of the board.
It's kind of more of a buzzy word. They're called token gated access. So there's
token gated access.
Token gated access. This is one of the reasons why Bored Apes blew up is not in the real world. They had token gated access in the Discord. So you have the general chat in the Bored Ape Discord.
They can have special
But also if you own a Bored Ape, then you get a private chat with all of the other Bored Ape owners. So people are paying more because now you get access to Steph Curry, Jimmy Fallon, Paris Hilton. And if there's only 6,000 owners,
interesting, yeah.
For some people,
it's like joining a social club.
It's joining a social. Well, yeah, it's Bored Ape Yacht Club. Bored Ape Yacht Club, right?
That's what it is.
Oh, I get to rub hypothetical elbows with Jimmy Fallon.
But now the idea is that it aligns not only your social interests but your financial interests. And some of these people have.
You're right, because now maybe you could pitch to them because you're in the Discord and you're like, hey,
I mean, I see the opportunity.
How often are they actually in there, you think? Like Steph Curry?
I know Steph Curry's in there actually pretty often.
Like,
see, you got good access to Steph Curry.
But like, unless like I'm trying to train my son to be an NBA player, like what? And you're like, I don't know. For me,
they're all entrepreneurs at the end of the day.
You know, that's true. I'm sure like, oh my gosh, I have this. I don't know, but if I was a famous person, I bought this to have like some sort of like exclusive. I don't know if I would want someone pitching to me. It's
what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's one of those things like at that point, it's like a comfortability thing. It's like, do I really feel comfortable with other people having access to me just because they also own this very valuable NFT? I don't know.
But if they're super rich too, then you could be like, hey, I got this business idea. Can you fund it? So it's just.
But if I'm rich enough to buy one, if anything, it should be like, hey, can we go get brunch? Like, can we say it should be more one of those conversations than hey, I have this really great idea. Like you are able to buy this.
Tell us, what's the craziest craziest thing you know of?
Well, the thing though, and then I'll go into
because I want to hear like the craziest party you've ever heard of getting access to. But
the parties that are actually pretty bad from what I've heard so far. Just because
they're not like international water yachts.
Well, the big thing right now is like what's it called? It's
Can you look that up?
Ape Fest is happening now at NFT NYC, and from what I've seen, it's literally 95% dudes, and it's not good talent. And but it because
not good parties for meeting
even though Yuga Labs, who made 150 million last year off of royalties from Bored Apes trading, they are not experts in everything. You know, they're 4 guys who are devs and artists who are now working on other things.
Should hire someone else to throw their parties, huh?
I've heard.
See, and that's where I'd make my money.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great.
It's more, you have to think about it more in the digital world.
Yeah.
And also the point that I think we're missing in this conversation is these famous people or the athletes, they understand culture, but they don't understand internet culture. So they're buying into this community because they need to figure out a way to get into the crypto and internet culture.
Yeah, and they're kind of anti-old school celebrity in a way too.
And they don't know how to do it. And I'm telling you this, and this isn't to sound like a gloat or anything, but they need the crypto community more than we need them. They don't understand how to go about it. I see this happen time and time again where a famous person comes in and they buy a big NFT, right? They go buy a CryptoPunk or Bored Ape, and then 5 days later, they'll launch their own NFT product, and the entire community sees right through it. They're like, this is a cash grab. We're not doing this. Floyd Mathers tried to do this a lot of times. A lot of people have, and it's crypto's the most intelligent community out there right now.
Right, because if you are a celebrity, it does seem like a new job you could just have would be to buy anything that's non-fungible, and now all of a sudden you've written your name into the blockchain as the owner and then just sell it. Like now it's something that first wasn't owned by Will Smith, now it is, now it's yours, so you can say that the celebrity has touched it or graced it, and you can just do that all day long.
Yeah, and they've tried, and a lot of them have failed.
Because the community just doesn't
looks
care
through
that
it.
much.
It's a self-policing community. Don't get me wrong, there's a ton of scams that happen out there, but a lot of these celebrities who try to go through it, they have to put their work in. Gary Vee tried to come into the community. He didn't even sell out VeeFriends. Everyone looked past him. Everyone thought he was a scammer. He had to put work in to sell it out. I think it took almost a week for him to sell out VeeFriends. Mark Cuban came in. Everyone wrote him off. Mark Cuban ended up teaching himself Solidity, and then he also got rugged for $7 million in exploit, and everyone said, okay, now your initiation's passed and you're part of us. These people have to put in work. Steph Curry's investing in equity in NFT projects. Paris Hilton's been into NFTs since 2019. She's investing. And you can now see that a lot of these celebrities are doing the symbolism. They're all buying their .eth address. So .eth is the equivalent of like a .com. But in Web3, your .eth is it's going to be your website. It's your social media profile. It's your... it's going to be what you sign into.
Yeah, so tell me about that, because the domains, in a sense, they've always been a non-fungible token, right?
Yep.
Like
the first NFT.
Like Nike.com was always something that you could buy and resell and had a history.
So you could see these ones that are selling. Paradigm, Sam.eth.
Oh, Sam ETH for a couple grand.
100 ETH. So go down. The numbers is a different trend.
So this seems like a pretty good investment, though, because I hate having to pay, but this will be a one-time purchase, right? Or
one-time purchase,
or you have to continually.
But you have to register it, but that costs like $50.
Apple.eth, what does that sell for?
51 ETH, it looked like.
I mean,
but if you keep going through, you'll see. Be a good buy, I don't know. If you go through, you'll see a lot of actual like big name brands coming in and starting to buy their ENS, and then they put it in their Twitter header. So if you go to like Paris Hilton's profile, it says ParisHilton.eth on Twitter. But
so now she's got basically a domain, but it's not centralized. It's a decentralized domain. This is information written into the blockchain.
Mm-hmm. And these .eth, like I said,
but NBA might pay for it one day. Lego.eth.
I think that was actually given to them. They came in, and some people simp for these like Web2 companies and give it to them for free. But so Toby.eth is actually the founder of Spotify. He bought that for 20 ETH, and so you could put a picture behind it. But that was the founder of Spotify.
That's why he's able to do it.
And a lot of these I'm telling you, a lot of these celebrities are getting in, but they all come from different different areas.
Sorry.
What are you laughing at? What's going on in your head?
Nothing.
She's like,
I'm reading all the ETHs. That's
she's
all.
like, this is magic internet money.
Do you want to own a .eth? Like Lonnie.eth? Can you search that? See if we could buy Lonnie right now and see.
And then someone's going to go buy it.
Right? I'd be so offended.
It'll take us forever to edit this, so don't worry.
I would buy it.
Oh, how much? There it is. Let's pick it up right now.
You could pick it up for 0.3 ETH right now.
And wait, okay, and what is that equivalent to?
Honestly,
give me dollars.
$300 though.
$300.
That's not
and what
so
is that?
bad if that's what you want for a domain.
But what does that do for me?
So so eventually
it's like owning a domain.
There's going to be decentralized social media
Honey, you should buy this.
and websites. And
like that's your name. You could have the .eth right now. Can you see?
But like if I put that on my Instagram or my Twitter profile, like what is that?
No, the idea.
I thought that would be so much more money for $300. Can you see if Dylan's available too? DYLAN.
Okay,
you're gonna pay a bunch of money. I think
why?
I think
because I don't have Lenny's name.
First names are a lot of money.
That's her first name.
No, I was talking about Dylan. It looked like that was bought recently
for $1,000 though. So your name's worth $1,000.
But look at when the day was.
That seems like.
But that's the highest bid. So this was bought almost a year ago. But you're gonna have some guy named Dylan probably bought this. So
I know that's who I'm competing against. Is all the Dylans.
Yeah, he actually has it branded too. Well,
explain. What do you can we? So can we see who he is, or does he have a website?
If you go up. See, he already is branded as Dylan.eth, so you're going to have to pay a lot of money for it.
But he's probably not going to sell it, is what we think. This is a real person who wants to
I don't think he'll sell it, yeah.
Okay, so tell me what the ETH does for me if I were to buy it.
Yeah, the big misconception, and this isn't just ENSs, it's with NFTs, is a lot of people are applying the Web 2 logic to the Web 3 tokens. So yes, you can go put it on your Instagram, but we're thinking here in the future when the next version of Instagram is brought onto Ethereum, your Lonnie.eth is used as your social media handle. It's used as your website. It's used as you to sign into any sort of dApp. A dApp is a decentralized dApp. So anything.
And unlike Facebook and Instagram, this is something you can take to different social networks.
Yes, correct. So everything all of your digital identity is going to go through your ENS, at least when you're using Ethereum, which is at least the leading smart contract platform. Think of ETH as Windows and Apple.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Let's dumb it down to like 5th grade level.
But decentralized, which means that it's open source, which means anyone can audit all the code. Anyone could come in and build anything on it. And so in Apple, which we call Web 2 companies, they have an app store, right? Did you know that they charge 30% of all profits for all the apps in the app store? And they also have to approve it. Here on Ethereum, anyone could go build what's called a dApp, decentralized app, and deploy it on Ethereum with permissionless. And ETH isn't taking any of the profits from it.
So think of all the new Lonnies who will compete for you.
I rarely run into Lonnies unless they're Hawaiian, and they spell it differently than I do.
Can you find trending names? Because whatever names all the babies are being born right now, babies can't buy .eth addresses yet. What's like the most popular name this year or something? Go find one of those. Yeah, go see if we can get that. Because once these kids get old, they're all going to be trying to buy it from us. We can take advantage of babies right now. Like if we act quick, we can rip them off.
Ooh, I would not.
You own your name? You have Jake?
I have Jake Gallen. I tried to get Jake when it expired, and somebody wrote a bot and bought it immediately and listed it for like 600 ETH.
So it's out of your hands now.
I do own Jake.bit, which was on Namecoin, which was created in 2011.
Wow.
So
oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that.
I told you my background's historical NFTs, so that's kind of where my
What about the other? Do you think anything else has a chance of competing with .eth? Any of the other? Oh. What about the .crypto or .btc? Do you feel like anything else has a chance of being a good investment, or .eth?
I mean, maybe .sols on Solana.
.sols?
You can't. Yeah, I don't know if OpenSea has .sols. They might.
But ETH is really the one everyone's
ETH is the most popular. Around. Crypto is also a network effect. Crypto is the convergence of finance, tech, and culture.
Okay.
So the network effect becomes extrapolated to orders of magnitude more. So that's why you see these like very violent, volatile moves upwards.
Yeah. Because
it's 24/7. So it adopts users at a more rapid pace, whether that's for FOMO or actual adoption or more utility being provided. But it grows much faster than Facebook ever did. Mark Zuckerberg was known for the quote of saying, "Move fast and break things." Crypto moves so fast that people don't even realize things are broken at the time. That's like how fast people become onboarded onto this thing. And
like if Namecoin comes back,
it has historical value. So I actually own a bunch of Namecoin assets, and Matt Kalish, who's the founder of DraftKings, has the highest purchase on Namecoin. He bought a Blockhead, which was minted in 2014 for about $400,000.
Wow.
He's actually a pretty avid historical NFT collector, and so is Daryl Morey, who's the president of the 76ers. Daryl Morey probably has like one of the best vintage NFT collections out there.
It's so weird to hear just like, oh yeah, like the old vintage blockchains, because there were so many that were
Namecoin and Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yeah. Those are the three. Rare Pepes are by far, like, to me, the final boss NFT for everything. It's the first crypto art project. It was created on Bitcoin in 2016. It utilizes Pepe the Frog, which is basically the Mickey Mouse of the internet. It's the mascot for crypto. Yeah. And there's over 1,700 different collections. Pepe was used to get Trump into office. Like, there's all these different things and parallels for it. It's a really cool collection. But the difference.
Do you have a Shiba Inu at home?
I don't have Shiba Inu.
Oh, okay. I mean the dog.
The dog now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wish. I did own Dogecoin for a while.
Because they said that dog is now really hard to get. Like that breed, you know, like, because there's only so many of those real dogs in the world, you know. They're at like an NFT in themselves.
Technically.
Yeah. I want to talk maybe fraction, or do you feel like there's anything else here? Or I want to.
I mean, you could scroll down a little bit, but I mean, we could go to categories if you go to explore.
Okay, sure.
Oh,
see there? These are all the different categories of NFTs, and that's not even all of them. So you have Solana NFTs, which is just NFTs on a different blockchain.
What's your gut instinct right now with the best? Which one's coming up? You think duplicator or?
Oh, just for an art collection?
Yeah, like out of the top 10, like, would you have a favorite that's kind of lower?
So if you go down a little bit, so CloneX was created by Artifact, which was bought by Nike.
Yeah, just tell me each one if you like them or not and why.
CloneX is considered a blue chip. It's a PFP project by Nike and Artifact, which is popular. I'm an investor in GoblinTown, which just came out recently, and the reason why it's a big tribute to crypto culture, and also they brought in the idea of like conceptual art and performance art. If you look at it face value, you probably wouldn't get it, but let's click on it. So GoblinTown, right? It was a free mint that just came out a month ago, and the idea of GoblinTown is a purely crypto. It's purely like a crypto idea. So GoblinTown was started by this crypto influencer. I believe it was Moon Overlord. He started talking about how crypto was going to GoblinTown when Bitcoin was still at like $60,000. And GoblinTown meant that like we were about to go into a nasty bear market. Yeah. And everyone was denying him. And so over the course of months, he kept saying GoblinTown. Right. And then everyone started picking up on it. People started saying they were Dr. GoblinTown. They were this. And then when crypto really had that nasty just 12 red candles down and weekly candles down, everyone is poor, right? Now we're back where we were in 2018. We're all poor. GoblinTown did a free mint because everyone was poor.
I gotcha, because here we are in GoblinTown.
Here we are, right?
Here you guys go.
Here we are, here, free mint. And so then this ran from free mint to 10 ETH floor.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know the story at all.
Then they went in and they started using some of the specific NFT ideology. They said their CCO is Creative Commons, which, again, we're going back to like the IP thing.
Yeah, which means
CCO just means that everybody and nobody owns the IP.
So that's the one that you like the most. That's the one where you actually get the most ownership over the image.
It means that me, you, Lonnie, anybody could go take any of the GoblinTown images and go profit off of it and use it for personal use. Yeah. It's a very decentralized ownership over the IP.
That face could sell some coffee. I could see that.
Mm-hmm. And then they came in and they said, we're not using Discord because Discord is where a lot of hacks have happened. And also people started hating Discord because Discord is kind of like the house for every community. And then Twitter is kind of like the public square. Yeah. So everyone goes into the Discord, you hash out all the issues within the community, and then the influencers will go and tweet out like whatever's happening, and then that'll get the retweets. So GoblinTown came and said, we're not going to use Discord. we're going to use Twitter as our house and public square at the same time.
So everybody gets to see the mess.
So
right?
everyone gets to
How
see the
sausage
mess.
is made. Yeah.
And then they hopped on Twitter Spaces, which is being utilized by the crypto community. Twitter Spaces is just Clubhouse on Twitter. Twitter, and they hired voice actors. And for
really?
2 hours, they had a Twitter Spaces of just like weird goblin noises. I'm sure you could probably find a YouTube channel.
Oh, that's awesome.
This Twitter Space ended up having like 4,000 people in it.
And they were just goblins.
And it's just goblin noises. Now they're doing events with like Fuocious at NFT NYC.
So big parties now for the goblins?
They have one today. Yeah, there's probably a reveal going on right now. Which
There's a reveal going on right now for the goblins?
So if you go to the website, yeah,
What?
This is the website.
I'm in. Take
And
my.
they're telling a story, and they're also using performance art and conceptual art.
But this is the kind of stuff that will become the history written into the chain. So this coin really could be very. It could be a movement and a community, in turn, higher value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing I've learned too with NFTs is when all of Twitter is trying to fade something, it's just gonna go straight to the moon.
How cheap can we get into GoblinTown?
So the floor right now is 3 ETH.
I need to get Lonnie's ETH, and then I need a goblin.
And so this was the team down here, and they also created a bunch of one-on-ones with like Steve Aoki, which
cool.
And it's funny they're playing into the term. So Steve Aoki is big into NFTs. He's also known for buying the top of every collection.
Okay.
Anytime Steve Aoki buys,
that's time to
100% of the time it's tanked. So they utilized him. They put him as a one-of-one goblin because
we're in GoblinTown.
Because we're in GoblinTown, and you don't want Steve Aoki to be part of the collection.
So they were just waiting to launch this until there was a huge bear market.
And this you could tell it was like very coordinated. The team was this was not just like your random Fiverr artist coming in and trying to do a PFP. I love it too,
because that means you're getting in when like people are down and I don't know, just something about it. I like that it's not the hype train. It's the like, let's build it from scratch train, you know?
So you have a very authentic, very, very, very authentic community. If you click on the Twitter account's pretty cool too. Go on it and you can see.
That's cool. So when did you bought one this week?
No. So I bought them about
right?
3 weeks ago. I bought a rank 99 out of 10,000 for 10 ETH. And then I bought another one, I think it was ranked like 400 for 5 ETH. So
it's pretty hard to
I've invested about like 20 ETH into it so far.
$20,000 isn't nothing, but it's a good amount to. I mean, if you think it's a limited supply, what 10,000?
10,000, yeah. They're also adding. They have like McGoblin burgers, and so there's a lot of different things that are happening in it. To me, it just captured my attention.
Yeah,
it seemed very unique. So Truth Labs is the company behind it,
and you trust them kind of to keep building community around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they've had some previous projects which didn't really take off, but now it has attention because of GoblinTown. It's called Truth Labs, and their other projects are very like Illuminati secret society based, and it kind of like goes in hand with this Goblin project.
Were you able to get it from OpenSea, or did you buy it?
I bought them on OpenSea. Yeah.
Okay.
Bought them on OpenSea. So this is something that I've been watching a lot and investing into that just captured my attention.
Can you see how cheap we can get a Goblin? Can you go to OpenSea and just see what the floor is? Man, that's pretty interesting, though.
3 ETH if you go up, yeah.
Okay, right but you paid 10 because you think
it was a very rare one. Yeah, so you see 40,000 ETH volume in a month.
Is it comparatively? Is that pretty?
I think it's top 50 volume ever in a collection.
Wow.
So you look at it, and if you go down, and that's the metadata, so that's the traits. If you look, they did the traits in this like Goblin kind of wording, and they've also created like their own. Yeah, they've created their own text, so they use their own font.
Yeah.
Which also, so now anytime anyone use that font, since they're only using Twitter, it's kind of signaling that you're part of like this community.
I see. So you see the elements of, I guess I don't know what that is, but yeah, community building.
Community.
The kind of thing that really makes these things valuable in the long run.
Yep.
So if these keep becoming parties, and then not even celebrities, but just important people in this community start tweeting about it.
Yeah, and you want all the crypto influencers on it more than you want
the celebrities
names, on it.
Crypto influencers. I wanted that celebrity word, but I knew that was the wrong one.
Crypto influencers. Yeah, or traders. Like everyone has a different account. So my account's grown a little. I'm up to like 8,000 now, but I would be an NFT influencer in the historical community.
So are you constantly getting offers? Like, we'll give you free stuff if you
Yeah,
talk about
I don't
it?
do any paid promos at all. I just like, you can lose your credibility in this space so quickly.
Yeah, no, I think that's smart.
So quickly.
That's
and for me, my big sale was I sold NFTs at Sotheby's auction house in October.
Okay.
And so my Twitter account blew up because I was selling with like Paris Hilton and Steve Aoki and a bunch of these other like NFT collectors. And so I got really big into Mooncats, and that's what ended up with me selling NFTs at Sotheby's because they're what's considered the first on-chain generative art. So, and some people, this is also debated what's on-chain. So this is my big collection. My name was called Cat Dad.
Wow. If you look it up.
So if you go to highest sales, and if you go down a little bit, there'll be one that looks like so see this cat right here, this the Darth Vader one.
I like
that's
the Darth
my
Vader
sale
one.
So I sold this for 70 ETH, which was like 200k at the time. So that was my sale.
Oh yeah, 70k.
Yeah, so this is my trading wallet. So there's like 50 Mooncats in there, but go to the top and type catdadmuseum.eth.
You sold one for 200k and now you have 50 more.
I have like I had 130 at one point. So catdadmuseum.eth. That's my cold storage wallet. Yeah. So this is where like all my like grails are and all like my historical stuff. So you see this one project's from 2018. You could keep going down, but there's so you see that's Bitcoin history on Ethereum that was created in 2018. Those are called the crypto cards. But if you keep going down, you'll see like a bunch of rare Mooncats and namecoin assets. I own the first ever Vegas NFT actually, which was minted on Namecoin in 2014. It's a picture of Fremont East. Those are called Pride Punks. So this was a CryptoPunks derivative in 2018 for Pride Week.
Nice.
Because there's like a million different CryptoPunks. If you go down, Crypto Arte is a good one. So these are all like older projects.
Yeah.
Rare Pepe. Yeah, Rare Pepe is awesome. So you see the green Kanye West, Pepe West. That's part of the Rare Pepe collection. If you go down, you'll see there's a bunch of different stuff in there that has some sort of like historical value to it. Crypto Cobain, Crash Bandicoot, Jake the Pepe. So you could see some of the. So there's.
So is each one pretty difficult to get? Like an NFT that's not. I guess it's all OpenSea, huh? People are just moving
this is just my wallet linked up to it.
Yeah. Some of these old coins, like there's Namecoin.
There's Namecoin stuff. Yeah, Rare Trump. So then now you start to see some of the rare Mooncats. So that's a Twitter egg. See the orange cat is one of 3 from how it was minted. But this is how I got popular was Mooncats, and so I started creating tutorials for it. And my rarest Mooncat is this one right here. It says Las Vegas. So there's this idea of like on-chain accessories, which we think is going to be very popular. It's like now that you have PFPs and all of these NFTs that represent identity, people are going to want to customize them.
Right.
So Pondaware, the creator behind Mooncats, they introduced this idea of creating an accessory store to dress up and personalize your Mooncats with the pixel art, and anyone can come in and contribute accessories to the store, and then anyone could come in and buy it and dress your Mooncat with it. And it's all stored on chain. So Pondaware eventually ended up creating 7 contracts where you can basically reconstruct the image of the Mooncat based off of all the data stored on the blockchain itself. Wow. And that's what on-chain kind of is. And this is where you get into like this like decentralization discussion of like with Bored Apes, the image is actually stored in something called IPFS. IPFS is called
so like you can't reconstruct the pixel information from what's on the blockchain.
Right. If IPFS went down, then you wouldn't see the image of your Bored Ape.
Yeah. IPFS is decentralized.
It's kind of decentralized. It's like a centralized decentralized. The people who run IPFS could turn it off at any point. There's servers that could go out. And it's permissionless. It's permissionless storage. Anyone could come in and upload. Yeah. And
so that early Bitcoin where they inside the metadata, Satoshi wrote that link to the New York Times article or something about like how the banks are getting bailed out. Do you think that could be like the people who were contributed to that block? Could they somehow mint off of that, or is that valuable in any sense?
It's non-transferable, so it's minted in the blockchain, but it wasn't tokenized.
But if you said I own the wallet address that was one of the transactions in that block, is that valuable?
The only thing that came from that is Bitcoin. So
not like nothing. Bitcoin, everything is fungible that came from that system. So
Bitcoin couldn't have or didn't have the ability to create NFTs, and these are also primitive NFTs. They added this.
But even though you could write unique stuff into your transaction?
But you're written into the block. There's no token. There's no transfer mechanism. So this comes down to the idea of
Everything's
transferable
fungible. Yeah.
tokens versus non-transferable. So if I own something, but I can't send it to anyone, does it actually have value?
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
And there's there's some discussion around that. Bitcoin added a functionality called op_return. It basically allows functionality to add unique data onto the blockchain itself. So it allows the ability to mint new tokens. So in 2014, there's a dApp that was built on Bitcoin called Counterparty. And Counterparty allowed you to create unique token sets on top of it. And so in 2014 is when Bitcoin got essentially NFTs. But now it goes into this like discussion, and it's a very philosophical debate of what actually is a token, what exactly is value. On Namecoin, they say that the value is in the registry because it's like ENS or it's like a .com where you have to continually register the token.
Yeah.
So these tokens can't expire, but then you could remint them, but then you still get the history with it. So it's not the original token, but it comes with the history. So is it actually valuable since it's a new token, but the history still comes? And then on Bitcoin, they say that the token is the art because back then in 2014, IPFS didn't exist. So there was different ways to store images. So the images, some of the tokens didn't have images at the beginning, but they're still non-fungible because they're a unique set of tokens that had different value to it. So people were taking like, for example, there's one called Umbrella Token where it didn't have an image, but the token could be redeemed for real umbrellas.
Oh, so it had some
real world utility. And then they added the art later. And so for people who mint on Counterparty and Bitcoin, they say the value is that the token is art. The value is in the token. And then when you get over to Ethereum, because it has a more dense art culture, they say that the value is in the art itself. But now now the conversation is kind of moving again to the art is in the token.
I guess my main question is like, just because of the whole metaverse and then the whole NFTs becoming popular, like, do you see it being one of those things that like, because eventually what goes up must come down and vice versa and things like that. So even though it's a big hype right now, like, would you see like it always being a good investment no matter what, no matter when it's up or when it's down, just as far whether it's an NFT or an ETH or whatever the case may be?
No, I think most NFTs are probably actually not a good investment. Especially if you're new, it is a lot of it's driven by speculation and hype. A lot of the market reminds me of the sneaker market. I don't know if you've ever traded like shoes, or if
I've known people who trade shoes,
or if you know like what hypebeast culture is.
Yeah,
it's very similar to hypebeast culture.
Okay.
And so you get these like very large and volatile price moves, and then eventually it just goes to zero because people leave or you get dumped on. But in terms of like when you think about the future of NFTs, I think a lot of these like designer name brand and like luxury name brands are getting into it because they realize that in the metaverse, if we're speculating on the metaverse, and a metaverse could be anything. Everyone's going to have a metaverse. Nike's creating a metaverse. Louis Vuitton's creating a metaverse. Gucci's creating a metaverse. And a metaverse could be 2D. It could be 3D. It's basically just like a digital realm that's operational and that can house a community and has different formats. So when you look at like the trends in the world, everyone is spending more time on the internet. Right, you wake up on Sunday and that iPhone gives you the amount of time you spend on your phone. You're like, God,
oh my gosh, you get those too? Okay, I thought it was just me. I thought it was just like a program.
I hate myself. And a lot of these companies are very smart. They understand that this is happening. And so no matter what metaverse you're hanging out in and whatever that representation is translated to, you're going to have to be able to prove that you own things there, whether it's the clothes that you dress your avatar to the digital identity that represents you, or how you sign in with your wallet, or if you're walking through, like, let's just say we're in like this full Ready Player One reality, right? The deed to your house is going to be an NFT. Your house will be an NFT. Your bed will be an NFT. Everything in this room, if imagine like reality, VR is so good that we're sitting in VR today. Everything in here is going to be an NFT because Dylan owns everything in this room. If it can be owned and if it can be transferred, you're going to have to display the amount of display ownership over it. Now, it doesn't mean that everything in here is valuable. Maybe Dylan thinks that everything in here is worth $1 million.
Nobody wants.
Sorry, Dylan. I don't think everything's worth $1 million.
No, fair enough.
But this is like the idea is once you kind of grasp these concepts that transferability equals value and that transferability equals ownership, whatever the representation of the metaverse is, it's going to be an NFT, and the data or the ownership is stored on the blockchain itself. And the best way to kind of display your identity in a metaverse is through fashion and through social signaling. And that will probably change in the metaverse, right? Because we're not taking these clothes, but we'll have avatar clothes, but then the clothes that we wear in the metaverse will have unique properties that don't exist here, right? Like it could...
So like the location you visit could be an NFT, the things you say can be an NFT, or they're just histories that go along with NFTs?
It'd be the histories. It's the provenance. It's the timestamp, because all a blockchain is just a decentralized database that anyone could look into and audit the provenance of an asset or a wallet's history itself.
Yeah.
You realize that this digital world, which, you know, it won't be built tomorrow, but over the next 30 to 50 years, as everything becomes very digitized and graphics are increased, it's going to be a very, very massive thing. And not everything, I guess, should be thought of so much like a collectible. Because if you built this like this podcast studio in the metaverse, and then I got like a digital OBJ that was like the light bulb, and another one that's like a digital representation of the fireplace. I guess each one would have a history, but they wouldn't really be like massive collectibles I'd be investing in. They would just be things that the next person would be like, oh yeah, that was the fireplace from that other unit or something. And then, but do you think the blockchain just quickly like would calculate it all, or would there even be like an order book for everything? No, you don't.
Or why would it be?
You don't need an order book. Actually, I think we kind of get stuck on like this like speculation of, you know, seeing the stats. And although crypto does allow the opportunity to attach markets to pretty much anything, it doesn't mean that everything needs a market attached to it. Not everything has to be financialized. Most NFTs, right? All tickets in the future will be NFTs. That doesn't mean that once you use the ticket, it's going to have resale value.
Yeah.
But what it does allow is the ticket providers to have...
To say you are the owner of it.
You are the owner, and they can also reward you based off of your wallet. They have access to your wallet. They can peer into your wallet. They don't know it's exactly you based off of how you identify your wallet. But most NFTs that are going to be things that were given, right? Tickets or commemorative pieces or just like fillers for your house. Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be designers who are just going to sell, or they're going to mass produce jeans of some sort.
But if you wrote one of these books, for example, there would be no reason not to NFT it. Because if you're just going to make it digital and then give it to everyone for free, why not just make 10,000 of them as NFTs? And then also people can always copy an NFT and actually read the book. Mm-hmm. It's just that the first 10,000 would actually have some history to you originally providing it.
Yeah, I think it depends also on how the metaverse is constructed. Have you watched the 1 hour long video of Mark Zuckerberg presenting on Meta and this metaverse and this
you
like
lost
grand
me
idea?
at 1 hour. I probably did.
It's on TikTok. Bring it.
Is it on TikTok?
No, you can bring it up. You can bring it up though.
I've
seen parodies of it.
If you get time, watch it. Mark has a very deep understanding of where the world's going, and he talks about the
So you're a big fan of his direction for Facebook?
No, I mean, he's smart because crypto's actually at war with him, because I'm not going to be in a centralized metaverse where Mark has the data and information to where my eye movement is and my heartbeat and all these like biological functions that he doesn't need to have access to.
Right.
So crypto's trying to move to create, there's going to be a centralized version and a decentralized version.
So the average crypto enthusiast is not a fan of Zuckerberg?
No,
or is?
Not at all.
They don't see him as helping build the piping and the like lower level protocols. They see him as trying to steal the upper level information.
Oh, wait,
he literally branded it. So this is the 11-minute version, but it's actually an hour long, the real one. But Mark has said that he's going to integrate NFTs into his metaverse, but not everything in there is going to be NFTs because Meta.
So he's like, I'll play it nice a little bit, but I'll still try to control a bunch of it.
They'll have NFT capabilities, but Mark owns the metaverse.
But he really could decentralize the whole thing. Just take every Facebook share and every employee and just make it all. You guys get in now. You own part of it. Facebook could just break into a billion little.
No, he wants power and control. This is the way he gets access to everything. You're gonna be, and the scary part is that most people will probably participate in it.
I have yet to actually even have or own a Facebook account.
But he also might not have much of a choice except to at first build it out piece by piece and then slow. I mean, it might take 30 years to take Facebook completely decentralized. I mean, I don't
think he's ever going to decentralize it.
Okay.
I don't think I think
because he could always have a big piece of it and ownership.
Well, if he decentralizes it, then he gets equal voting power comparative to everyone else. But centralization,
that would be if you think that the wisdom of the crowds is smarter than the individual, which most people do sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes they don't.
If you look at Mark's history,
it's a hubris thing. Yeah.
Right. If you look at his history, he's made decisions. He's made smart decisions, but it's been in the better interest of himself and for Facebook.
So can you just give us all the community drama? Like, who are all the good guys and bad guys?
So Mark Zuckerberg's like one of the enemies.
Okay, enemy number one. Is anyone more of an enemy?
He's pretty close. The SEC, CFTC, which
they're
are
all
like,
centralized. Yeah,
the governments mostly. If you're going from like
who are the heroes? Gary Vaynerchuk.
He's getting better. He's actually surprised me a lot.
And you said the guy who owns the Mavericks, Mark Cuban. You said he's become like legit.
Mark Cuban. A lot of people have come on board. I mean, you have like Peter Schiff, who's like the gold bug enthusiast.
And he doesn't like it.
Always just shitting on Bitcoin.
Crypto. What about Bill Gates' greatest fool theory?
So it's weird. It's interesting that you say enemies. The enemies of crypto are people
who are like frenemies. Like they're just like frenemies. They don't get it yet, or they're pushing the community to actually build things to prove them wrong.
I would say Mark is probably enemy number one, just because they know that he said that he's committing $10 billion per year to build out this metaverse in a centralized fashion.
What about NVIDIA's CEO? Do people hate him or
NVIDIA?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
They
just because I know they're going heavy into the Omniverse and like
they provided so many chips for GPU chips for Bitcoin mining for so long. I think they'd be like a friend.
Okay.
So there are enemies, but it's mostly just governing bodies who want to get in the way. But over time, you see most people end up capitulating and understanding like what the meaning is. But everyone now with the expansion of NFTs, the metaverse, then we'll get social tokens here in the next few years. Everyone's going to have a place in crypto. Everyone's going to figure out crypto is going to permeate into literally every industry that exists. It's already doing so. Everyone has such diverse backgrounds. You could find a way to leverage the technology to benefit yourself and benefit society. Web3 is about like possessing your own data. In Web2, decentral tech companies like Google, Netflix, Facebook, etc., they own your data, and time again they get hacked and they expose your data to the black market, which then it gets sold.
Own your own stuff, keep your private keys, and then
they take your data and they leverage it against you with ads. They sell your data. Here in Web3, you have the ability to own your own data, make your own decisions. It's a permissionless network. There's nobody telling me no to go onto Aave and take a loan out, an over collateralized loan because I'm Jewish and the bankers are anti-Semitic and they don't want me to have the money. The smart contract that you're communicating with is
just a program.
It's a program. There's no prejudice there.
Wait, so can we live in a future where we get paid? Do you think people can have a job doing nothing but walking?
Yeah, I mean there's definitely some.
I'm down.
So you could. Yeah, I mean there's definitely some.
I'm down.
So you could just delete DApp though. It's just Step in Solana. It should be it's just a website. It got up to like multi-billion-dollar valuation. There's millions of people using this actually.
That's interesting though. But if we do tokenize, or if we kind of have data that is just our lives, like this.
So click on Twitter and then you could go to the website.
That was like that episode of Black Mirror.
And then website's right there.
Yeah, but that could be great, right? Like, do you think
the website's right there at the bottom, right? Down one more, stepin.com.
Do you see us? Okay, like a big question, but do you think we could be in a utopian or something similar society where most people get to just do whatever they want with their attention and time, but that data somehow generates money for them?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I went and spoke at NFT Miami. And when I was there, Mark Cuban was presenting his new metaverse that he's creating. And he kind of spoke on the same exact thing that you're talking about. He called it I forget the exact name, but the idea is it's called a professional metaverse.
For sure.
And he led with this line. He said that the 30-year career path is dead. The 40-hour work week is dead. This doesn't work. It doesn't lead to any sort of a sustainability for life, for longevity. And he said that we're moving into a specialized world. And in this metaverse, you're going to get paid to go into these different areas of a city to figure out what your skills are in this creator economy, in this digital world. And it's a very unique concept because he said that we're all free agents now. We're all free agents in this digital world. It's an open source system. Anyone could come in and play, but no one knows what their skills are for it. So he's setting up these different areas in this metaverse, which I think you could download, and you're gonna get paid with this mechanism called learn to earn, which exists already.
So getting paid to go to school, then getting paid to use your education. So universal basic income doesn't need to come from the government. You think the crypto community will solve that?
They're already doing it. There's a universal base.
Great.
There's UBI token, which Vitalik's doing. Jack Dorsey's also has put like $1 billion into a similar UBI project on Bitcoin. So both chains are doing that.
So the future could be pretty bright. Everything can be tokenized and you can be given money for something, either trading your data or your attention or learning the skill that you need to do something for someone else to get even more token.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there will be some sort of trade-off that we can't even conceptualize now. My guess would be, yes, like now we live in a world where there's homelessness in the physical world. I'm sure in the digital world, there'll be some sort of like social isolation, social exclusion, which causes like some sort of other abstract disability that we just can't conceptualize.
Because a wallet address can go into debt. So if somebody over leverages a wallet, like a CryptoPunk could essentially be very heavy in debt if they had leveraged their money wrong.
You can build financial products around it, yes.
So they could be kind of stuck in forever needing to pay someone back.
Yeah, and it's also like we don't know what.
Or they walk away from their profile or something.
Yeah. You go isolate. You create also in
But if they
in
track
crypto,
yeah.
Everyone has 5, 6, 7 identities. So maybe these like identities conflict or clash in the future and create some sort of issue.
So there will be some kind of history for education, and I guess maybe it's kind of scary because if you do something like, say you're young and you do something stupid, it'll probably live there forever. Mm-hmm. So it's maybe a more stressful world we'll enter also. Yeah, well, also with NFTs everywhere.
Also by that time too, you'll have the technology of zero knowledge proofs being scaled outwards and used.
So privacy coming back.
So you can mask your transactions, and zero knowledge proofs just basically means that
type in zero knowledge proof. Where's Waldo?
It's
like the greatest.
Both of our wallets interact with each other, and the data is only shared in between the wallet, and then it's basically deleted afterwards. So it allows the two programs to verify and audit one another without revealing private information.
So here's a good example. I don't know if you've seen this. This is from the Wikipedia page, but for a zero knowledge proof, imagine that you have like a Where's Waldo, and it's the size of a building or a mountain, and somebody covers it all up with a hole in the cover, and it shows you right where Waldo is. You would know that they knew something about it without them having to reveal that entire thing. They say, but you don't have to know exactly what it is. You just know that would be impossible any other way.
And they've been working on this for 6-7 years in crypto. I mean, you have Zcash, which was the first zero knowledge proof cryptocurrency, which is getting there. It's not fully there. Monero, I think, still like the leading private cryptocurrency. But then you take the zero knowledge proof and you apply it to NFTs and all these other things. And
so
I guarantee you in this digital world, there's going to be some sort of trade-off that's going to be detrimental to human society. I just don't think I really can't conceptualize it because I don't know what's going to exist.
Because if people can't, that's the balance. We're always between like too much privacy, too little privacy, a little bit of security when everybody's tracked, but then again, Also, you lose a lot of freedoms, and that's important.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what if the decentralized metaverse is just too much for some people? Some people can't do the chaos, so then they're just going to opt and be in Mark Zuckerberg's centralized metaverse. It's easy for people to lose the idea of like what an NFT is, because you just see monkey pictures trading for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
But that's because the primitive version of NFTs is art and collectibles. But then you start expanding, exploring, and seeing music, metaverse, personal
all those
data,
different ways
all these different
that you can
things.
keep track of your own data.
And traded. And then you have tradable tokens versus non-tradable tokens, right? NFTs versus soulbound. And it's like, there's so much information happening. It's impossible to really keep up with it. I've been in it for 6 years, and I can't keep up with it at all.
Wow. Is this the kind of thing you feel like every single person should just be making their own NFTs?
No, I do not think so, honestly.
It's not meant for everybody.
It's the idea of just being producer versus consumer.
I mean, we're creating content for YouTube, and I know I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and they're going to essentially own it. Like, is there a YouTube decentralized? I mean, it's a digital asset. What we're creating, the four of us right now. So
right, that is
Like,
So
how come it's not? Should it be an NFT at this point, or do we just need to wait for YouTube to decentralize? Or is there a YouTube competitor?
There's no YouTube competitor yet, because storing data on a blockchain is very expensive, and right now it's very slow. It'll probably happen at some point in the system, but there isn't really cloud. The cloud decentralized cloud storage systems aren't really there yet. You have like Filecoin and Siacoin and a few others who are attempting to do that, but I think we're still probably 5 to 10 years away before that can actually happen. So YouTube owns your data. We have people's YouTube accounts get deleted left and right, the censorship and all these different things that happen. It's unfortunate, the situation that we're still in, but decentralized social media is going to be massive. Vitalik, the co-founder of Ethereum, is trying to has been signaling for some time now that he wants to move Ethereum past finance. He wants to move it into other technology layers, to other social layers, and whether that comes in a soulbound token, non-transferable token, or a tradable token as an NFT. I think we'll really get there. It's just still not really catching there. I guess for like a YouTube account, if you wanted to own your own data, it'd probably be like a non-transferable token, right? Like, I mean, I guess you could sell your YouTube videos on a market, but I think if you were creating a YouTube video, wouldn't you just want to forever own that content?
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely would.
So
that's what I'm wondering. Like, and if you wrote a book, I'd want the PDF to somehow be proven that like I'm the first person to publish it. I don't know, all that stuff. I mean, even stuff that goes on YouTube, then it just gets cut up and put up on TikTok, and someone else gets credit for it. And it's like, you didn't even make that. You just took that. As an actress, like, what's the best thing for her to start doing now before?
Yeah.
Like, how does she get royalties for everything she acts in? And
the giant aha moment was for artists of all types that could tie royalties into the token, right? So for CryptoPunks for a long time, there was no royalties, but Bored Ape, I think, has a 5% royalty. So anytime that the NFT trades hands,
where does that 5% go?
Goes to Yuga Labs. That's why they made 150 million last year.
Just because of all that transferring?
Because of all the transaction fee. I think Bored Apes traded like billions of.
So that's where they got all the money to buy CryptoPunks.
But here's the thing. So
Zuckerberg could do something like that, right? Everybody just transfers on Facebook, and he makes a tiny fee every time, and then decentralize the rest of it. So nobody's mad at him. But
he could also create Facebook NFTs where, yes, it's a transferable token, but it's built on the Facebook blockchain or whatever it is. Yeah, Blau has a very grand idea. So I own part of the first NFT called Worst Case, which is the first song. 50% of the royalties of the song was divided up. You could go royal.io so I own one of those. So there's 333 of these
when you
NFTs.
buy this, you get paid?
Yes.
This is
he's the first one to do this.
Like a dividend comes into your wallet account
from the song. So
and that's up and running right now, and it actually works? Or that's like in theory?
Getting there. It's getting there. So this just came out recently. He actually just raised $50 million from like A16Z, Chainsmokers, Jay-Z,
so he's got funding now to do it the right way?
So basically,
like, have you heard of Audius? Is it like that kind of?
It's similar. So Audius is kind of more like a decent, like a Spotify. This here, let me explain it a little bit and kind of the grand vision. So there's 100% of the song. 50% of the song is split up into 333 NFTs. Those 333 NFTs receive 50% of the royalties from that song. Right now, the royalties are only from Spotify, Apple Music, and the Web 2 streaming browsers. So obviously the payoff's not a lot for now, but the idea is like in the future, the users have ownership over that song, so that if, let's say, a movie company comes in and says, hey, I want to use Worst Case in my movie, they're going to have a proposal to the people who own the song. And they'll say, hey, we're going to pay you 20 ETH to use Worst Case in our movie. And then that 20 ETH gets split up automatically to all the wallets.
Yeah.
So this is, but, and then he has like a bunch of other big ideas.
That'll be crazy, because maybe you read some of a book and it goes to them, or maybe you have this virtual studio and then like a little bit, like I just want to rent this chair, and like a millionth of a Bitcoin goes to whoever built it or something for the rental fee.
Adam Curry's doing this already with Bitcoin. Adam Curry's known as the Podfather. He had the first ever podcast. He coined the term podcast.
Dude, we should know the history. Who's the? Can you look him up?
He's the Podfather.
How can I have a podcast without knowing the original?
2004, Adam Curry, Podfather.
Dang.
Just type in Adam Curry. So he has just type in Adam Curry.
I want to see that. We should look at the very first podcast. What did it?
This is him.
Who was the interview? Who did he interview, or who did he just talk?
Adam Curry. So the Podfather. He
That's so
he has
funny.
it's a political show now, but he has an app. I think it's called Sphinx, which is built on top of Bitcoin, which he gets tips from his users, and then I think vice versa, he could tip the users based off of their the amount of time that they listen, based off of like some pool, the experimentation. And I think it's routed through Lightning Network, which is the payments network. But there's a lot more technical nuance to it, so I'm kind of just butchering it a little bit. But that's like the main idea behind it. At the end of the day, when you think about like when Hollywood was first created, or the idea of like a star and a celebrity, celebrities were always on this like huge pedestal, and the audience was down here, and they were always looking down. And then as technology's created, that pedestal's been lowered.
Yeah, the comments and the social media,
and you become more and more on a personal and intimate level. And now when I talk with, especially with podcasts like this, when I have like wealthy people or famous people on podcasts, it feels like we're just friends, right? It's just like that although you do see that person as a role model, or you have respect to him, there's not that like stage fright that you get around celebrities.
Oh, for sure.
And then imagine now, I'm just going to use Joe Rogan because he's somebody that I look up to. Now I can have Joe Rogan on my show, and both of us can profit while he's on the show, and the people who are watching could profit off the show as well.
And maybe even proportionally, so they can come in and do something like this without feeling like they're wasting their chance to make money. Yeah, it is weird how celebrities now feel so normal. Any other questions? You good?
Oh, that was my last question.
All right. Lonnie's ready to take over.
Thank you for your time. And we just appreciate you swinging by.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing this.
I really appreciate it, man. This is the best studio in Vegas. By far, your production values.
Well, you
incredible.
brought top knowledge to us, and that's what really matters. So thanks for sharing these things. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.